Welcome to the Intern Whisperer. Our show is all about the future of work and innovation. Today's Intern Whisperer tip of the week is employers. You have to make sure, it doesn't matter, honestly, if it's an intern, sometimes entry-level employees, please make sure they know what reply all means. Reply all, they need to look. Do I see more than one person's name on this message? All right, I should probably do reply all. And then another nice little piece of etiquette is, if you're going to move somebody to a BCC, you do that and you say, I am moving, Ron, I guess, to BCC so that he doesn't have to keep getting hit with all of these types of emails. So today's guest is Jay Baily, and he is here with Pocket Capital. He's wearing a little, swag on his shirt today. So happy that you're here.
Thank you for having me.
So we kick off our show with, tell us 5 words that you would use to describe yourself and why those 5 words.
All right. Dad, founder, creative.
I'm going to give you one. Mental health advocate.
Yeah, thank you.
That's 3 words, so there you go.
Thank you. Mental health advocate. And
you're like a serial entrepreneur.
I would say humble because I don't like to say that.
I think people that are humble are always grateful for so much in their life.
So there we go. Dad, founder, creative, grateful. And
mental health advocate.
Yeah, mental health advocate.
Okay, so let's go over to Dad. Tell us, you don't have to disclose details if you don't want about your son, but he can tell us how old he is and what makes him so spectacular.
He's 3 years old. His name's London, and he's the greatest. Like, you don't really understand like a type of love until you have a child of your own, and you never really understand like mental toughness.
It is not about you anymore. Yeah. It is about that little child that you have to, take care of and protect and just, love on.
That is it. My mom told me that too. She's like, once London came, that's it. You're not important anymore. It's all about
you are not.
Yeah.
No. And she feels that same way still about you, but now that you have, she has a grandson, it is a totally different thing. Now you no longer matter.
Yeah, it's all good though. It's all good.
It's like not in a bad way, but it's like, no, it's not about you anymore. It's all about him because he's the future, right?
Yeah, it is. It is, and that's like the best way to put it. It puts a different lens on how you see yourself as a child, and you instantly become a lot more grateful for the things that you've gone through throughout the years. And you understand that parenting doesn't come with instructions, and it's really a testament of failing forward and just figuring it out as you go.
But you know what? Don't you think it does come with instructions? Because you have the previous instruction version, whatever, with your own parents, right? And so there was that instruction manual of how you were raised, and then you can go, well, I know what I want to do and what I don't want to do. But I don't think that we actually consider that. Yeah, it did come with instructions, and it was like what my parents did well and what I disagreed with, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. To sum it up in one word, I would say the instructions that a child comes with is faith. You just have faith that you're going to do the best that you can with what you have at that moment.
It's a promise.
You're going to aspire to continuously do your best.
Yep.
That's all you can do.
That is exactly true. Yeah. They go, well, okay, what'd you bring for me? Where's the sucker or whatever it is that you were supposed to do? They'll remember.
Every time my son sees a Chick-fil-A sign or like a logo,
he loves Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, he'll say, Dad, I'm hungry, and it's so funny because my dad would joke around all the time when I was younger. Like, that's what I did as a child too.
So next word, you said, we'll go with a different word. You said entrepreneur, but you have a lot of things that are going on. You've been a serial entrepreneur. And we'll talk more about Pocket Capital. We'll save that for after these 5 words.
Okay.
But what are all of the things that you've done as an entrepreneur?
It was my life. And I grew up in a very entrepreneurial family, so it's what I've been exposed to my whole life. So I feel like it's just naturally how I see the world in a business-oriented type of way. Myself personally, my first business, it was a t-shirt company when I was in elementary school. And
no way! How old were you?
I was in 4th grade. Yeah.
Oh my God! A t-shirt business.
Yeah.
Where were you even? What was it? Ironing it on with an ironing board at your house?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Because for me, like, School, I view school very different, so I always try to just like get my work out the way and then just doodle in my notebook and just come up with creative ideas. And like I was that kid. I was just always working on something or drawing or just my mind being active and I'm getting it out. So back then I would just ask my friends like, hey, what's your favorite animal? What's your favorite thing? What, and I would just draw it, and then I was like, oh, I could put these on a shirt and
So
sell
you're
them.
like an artist, a graphic designer?
No, not even close. I'm a creative for sure. I'm a designer for sure, but I wasn't exposed to a lot of electronics growing up. Yeah, I wasn't exposed to that. My parents are immigrants that came from Antigua. Uh, so growing up, it was a lot of, I guess, like cultural values at home that were instilled. So it was a less is more type of environment growing up, and we appreciated the little things, and we definitely weren't exposed to all the advanced stuff. So when I say I'm a creative, like I know how to work with my hands. I know how to put together product and design that way, and I can communicate the process. But I never physically put the time into just like learning Photoshop or Illustrator or anything like that. My best friend, that's where he comes in, and he excels with that, and that's how we met. I'll definitely touch on that subject later. But yeah, I mean, to get back to your question, yeah, it was just what I've been exposed to, and I've always been obsessed with like testing an idea to see if it makes an impact or if it can solve a problem. That's how I see business, and I've definitely failed forward, and I've found my passion subjects, my passion areas in business, and it's really just about creating value. So I've created a couple brand ideas over the years, and you just test one, see if it works, see if you want to put more energy into it, yes or no, and that's it. So for me, it's more about the idea and can you make an impact with something and run with it. So that's my journey with entrepreneurship. It's just creating solutions.
Not being afraid to fail, honestly.
Yeah, no,
I think
not at
you
all.
have to sit here and go, all right, if it works, awesome. If it doesn't work, awesome. Move to the next thing, right?
I'm pretty desensitized to failure because I understand it's part
You
of the
have to be.
process. Yeah.
You can't let that be the thing that takes you down. So you said humble. Why humble?
Because I've failed a lot. I've failed a lot, and I've learned a lot over the years of just creating ideas that I'm passionate about and putting my all into them. And you just learn the ropes, and you understand how to control excitement and how to just do what you feel is right. And
you celebrate at the time where it's appropriate to celebrate.
Time and place.
And then you go, boom, I've got to keep going on.
Exactly. And I've been knocked off my high horse several times. And it's I'm taking more of a humble approach now and just being more grounded and balanced and just knowing that I know my purpose on earth. I know my God given purpose, and I'm just focusing on being 1% better every single day and fulfilling my purpose. So whatever accolades, whatever things come with that, it was designed that way by the universe, and I'm just doing what I got to do. Yeah. And I'm not forcing anything. I'm just going with the flow and kind of just let go and let God.
Yeah, that's good sound counsel for all of our listeners. So the other one is mental health advocate. Why that?
Yeah, like I said, I've failed a lot, and I'll definitely touch on it lightly. But I've never managed one thing ever in my entire life, and I've always been able to bounce from idea to idea to idea. And I was building a company, a machine. And it was just becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And there were so many moving parts, and I ignored the one thing, which was personal health. I ignored that because I just had that drive. I have that entrepreneurial drive. I didn't need to sleep. I didn't need to eat. I just, give me a whiteboard, 4 walls, a conference table, a laptop. That's it. Like, I'm good. Me and my team, and we're running. And a couple bad situations happened on my personal side, and not really bad. Everything happens for whatever reason. Yeah. It's nothing's good or bad. It just is. So let me rephrase the way I said that.
Some challenges.
Yeah, some personal challenges. And to cut a long story short, I experienced what is referred to as a manic episode, and that led to me having to get hospitalized for a brief period of time and undergo some intense therapy and treatment to get myself back together again. And I was diagnosed with bipolar 1, and I don't really like labels, so I didn't really care about the diagnosis. I more so was happy for the framework to understanding how a human mind like mine works, and being able to see a route to facilitate how to not only maximize my strengths, but also be able to work on my weaknesses and know what causes them to show themselves as their weaknesses. So it was a blessing in disguise because for the first time in my life, I was forced to have everything stop. I had no contact with anybody outside other than specific times of the day, and I was just working on me. And from getting that diagnosis, I understood, like, there's so many people out there that just need help and they don't know how to ask for it, because I certainly did not.
Thank you for sharing that, because a lot of people don't, and they're afraid of whatever the stigma is. And I was working with the National Association on Mental Illness in Greater Orlando. They were a customer of mine, and I went through one of their classes. It's called Namigo for our listeners, for that particular location, NAMI. And one of the things they asked me to do was go through one of their courses, and I said, sure. And it was 10 weeks long. I am so glad I did, because statistically, at the time when I was going through the course, they said it was 1 in 4 had a disorder. And I sat there and I went, I totally disagree with that. I think it's 1 in 4 does not have a disorder, because what fell into disorders was not just what people will say, oh, that's an issue, schizophrenia and bipolar, but it was anxiety, depression. There was, autistic was on there. There was like this whole list of things that was underneath the spectrum of a mental disorder. And I said, do you know how many people don't talk about this?
That's the perfect word to use, spectrum.
Yeah, it is a huge spectrum.
There's a lot going on.
I've gone through depression. My mother did. So I sat there and I went, my brother, there are so many variables there. And I went, no, it's 1 out of 4 doesn't have it. So I would disagree with that statistic. I remember having that discussion with the board for quite a few times. The other thing that I would say about any type of a mental health issue, if people would be able to be brave like you and be able to put that out there, it would make it so that others would come forward and go, you know what, that's me. So we have here inside of my company, one of the things that I absolutely, I do have biases when I like to hire. If you ask me what they are, I'm going to tell them right now. In no particular order, are veterans that have been working for a while, and they have to transition into the corporate world. They have to start all over. Now, granted, they know how to lead, they know how to follow, they know how to do a whole lot of things like that, but they still have a learning curve because they have to go and learn business world.
Gotcha.
And it's a completely different industry than being in the military. The second group that I like to work with are individuals with disabilities, all types, because they're very appreciative of the fact that they have something that maybe people can see if it's in a wheelchair, maybe they can't see if it's autism. And they'll go, well, what's different? There's something different about this person. I don't know what it is. And a person they'll shy away from it. And they go, no, there's something there. I don't want to mess with that. I will pick those people because I go, first off, they're going to be really loyal. They know what it means to have a job. They do not want to lose that. And the third group that I like a whole lot are people that are not U.S. citizens that want to work here.
Absolutely.
And they're going, I don't want to be kicked out. I want to live here. So they will work really, really hard. So individuals with disabilities. I have several people that are high-functioning autistic that work with me. And one of them that's with us right now, he is on our video team. We are doing this whole series about diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to be talking with people with different disabilities and getting that message out there. So what is it that you would want employers to know about this disability? That would be awesome if we would all talk about it. And then what would you want people to know about the fact that you're from India? We're here in the United States. What is it that you want us to know? Yes, you speak English. That is one of your languages in your country. We get it. So we're taking all of these biases and I guess I would say opinions and being able to break those down. And we're calling it Behind the HR Curtain. Nice. And they're conversations, and we're going to break them down into like little bites that we can release for people just to learn more about.
That's awesome.
And veterans too. What is it that we as employers and employees need to know about veterans? Okay, especially what if they had PTSD? There you go. That's another disorder, right?
Yep.
So what do we need to know to help them feel included? So yes, there's diversity, but there's also inclusion. And so the fact that you're so graciously sharing what that is, a struggle that you had, you've also shown that there's a choice and how you chose, something that's healthy for you, and to be able to demonstrate for your son, I'm sure, and for those that are around you that care about you, is yes, I am here to be a role model, an amazing dad, somebody that's here to be an advocate, that's going to go ahead and put it out there, and just not even worry what somebody's going to think, because you're going to break down walls. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, definitely. And anything you're doing in that realm, like sign me up. I'll definitely be there. I definitely want to be involved in the community a lot more, because I was submerged in the community without knowing anything about it, and I was welcomed with open arms, and I received the help that I didn't know that I needed, and I'm extremely grateful for that. And even once we finish up, I'll definitely share with you like the facilities that I was in and where I got my care and stuff. So if there's anything that we can do, I will definitely I'd love to be a part of it. And for employers, it's really just to
see the person for who they are.
Yeah, like see them. Don't see them as a number. See them as people. And I'm coming from my professional career primarily is retail. That's what I'm passionate about. I love everything about retail. And we'll talk about pocket capital and all that later. But I've experienced the highest highs of retail and the lowest lows. I've worked in the biggest locations, the number 1, the number 2 stores in the country for the big 3, if you will, in retail. And I've worked on the premium side. I've worked on the action sports side as well. And something that every single company has that they overlook is the fact that they have really passionate people that are passionate about the brand and what the logo means or what the message is. And they're getting their first job, and they're going there for the brand and yes, for a paycheck, but they're looking to go there because they're inspired. And in 3-4 months, they're burnt out because they're treated as go stand in the front, say hello, welcome. Our promotion's buy one get one half off. Go fold those T-shirts. Go stand at the fitting room. They're not asked, why are you here? What's your favorite thing to do outside of work? How long are you going to be here? Because this is not a forever job. How can I help you grow? What makes you happy? What makes you sad? So going through that and experiencing it and being the different manager, because
you're investing in your people. You're talking to them. You're getting to know them. You're developing a real relationship with them.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of these big companies overlook. And for me, I was always the manager in any company that I worked at to always push the boundaries and always ruffle the feathers of the higher ups. And it's because I did what I felt was right for the team, and I didn't really care about what was right for the balance sheet or what was right for the cookie cutter framework that they're telling you is going to work in every single store. Like every single store is made up of individual people that all have lives, and it's a melting pot, and you have to understand how to deal with that melting pot. And as a leader, you got to make sure everything works the right way, and you're able to do that by listening. And big organizations, small organizations, they need to listen to their people, and they need to understand how to empower them and not employ them. And people are so obsessed with a title and a salary and the benefits that they lose sight in who they are and what their purpose actually is. And a job will drain you of that.
Well, a job where you don't feel, like you were saying, purpose, seen is everything. Yeah, there's also, we'll throw something else in there too when people consider who they're going to hire. I mean, if you're hiring for models, yes, there might be a perception. But even that has changed in the retail space because they're going, no, we are not all size 2. We are not all this. So now when I go into Target, I see all different types of body types. And that's the real world.
Exactly.
That is what it should look like. And I can actually see what something would look like on me based on, I'm like short, I'm 5'2". So, what it might work for somebody that's a woman that's 5'7" isn't going to work on me. So, yeah, body type. We'll throw that one in there too. Okay, I did not make a note of your fifth word. I don't know what it was. I'm thinking it was like learner or continuous learner, but I'm not sure. I feel like you're in that realm. That would be a safe word for you.
We can go with that one. I love learning. I love studying. I love research and development. That's actually my favorite part of like the business development process is the research and development and just getting the nuts and bolts together and just creating something great.
All right. Well, our next question is, tell us about where you went to college and how did you get here? So now you get to go and start talking about all of these great companies that you worked with and that you actually created also. So where'd you go to college?
I started at USF in Tampa. I did.
So that's University of South.
South Florida in Tampa.
Yeah, just for our listeners. Yeah.
Yeah, USF, University of South Florida, in Tampa. My grandma passed away shortly after that, so just to be closer to family and everything, I ended up moving back home, and I went to Broward College for a little bit, and then I transitioned to FIU, and I didn't really like being down south too much, so I moved up to Orlando, and I went to Valencia, and then transitioned over to UCF. And throughout that entire process, I was working throughout the retail industry, climbing up the ranks in 3 separate companies, Zumiez, Adidas, and a little bit later on with All Saints. And I was going to school at the same time, and I was just creating I was testing my own brands. So when I went to USF, University of South Florida, I met my best friend and my business partner, Matt, and he's a graphic designer. And that's when I brought all my crazy ideas to him, and he was a struggling graphic designer trying to figure it out. And I was a all over the place creative thinker that was going into business college, and I was like, all right, this is perfect. We were introduced together by a mutual friend, and we decided to create a brand, a streetwear, skateboarding inspired brand. And that's where we transitioned from, hey, let's build a t-shirt brand to let's learn the ropes of this industry over the next several years and like, let's get this right. So we came in with the intention of we're going to sell shirts and we're going to self-fund our ideas and we're going to figure this out. But the idea from conception was to be vertically integrated and work within every single aspect of the supply chain that we needed for the industries that we were passionate about.
Skateboards.
Yeah.
Are we talking about longboards or wide or like old school?
No, like street skateboarding, rails, stair sets, skate parks, half pipes, that type of thing.
Okay, so what is your best skateboarding trick that you could do?
Oof.
Did you do it in the swimming pool? Like where they went into a swimming pool and they go into a flip?
Definitely not. I prefer more the street skating.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm actually training and conditioning just so I can be more active and skate. For some projects that we're working on, I want to be able to keep up with the guys. And right now, I'm falling back in love with street skating. So right now,
okay, so define that for us. 50. Yeah, go back. What is street skating? Just because I don't know. I figured there's going to be other listeners that may not know.
Street skating, like you're just going out with the homies and you're finding good spots. Like you're finding stair sets and manual pads and ledges.
Okay,
and
so it's like I see people downtown.
Yeah. That's what makes me happy. That's what I grew up doing. Skateboarding, playing music, being in the art aspect and
painting, can your son skateboard?
Yeah, he can. Yeah.
For real, he's 3.
Yeah. He has his own skateboard.
Oh no, it's as big as him.
Yeah. He's learning how to like drop in on the ramps now, and he has to go to a skate park. He has his whole setup, and I always said like, I'm not gonna force my son to do anything that he doesn't want to do. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna expose him to the life that I live, and whatever he gravitates to, that's what I'll do. So like, he gravitated towards soccer on his own. I'm his soccer coach, and I love doing that. It's so much fun. I had a warehouse when I was down in Fort Lauderdale, and we used to skate in the garage and everything like that. And one day my son sits on the skateboard and he starts like using his hands and like pushing himself around the warehouse. And I'm like, all right, cool. I guess he likes skateboarding. And that's his thing. So he's been doing it pretty consistently. We'll go a couple of times a month to the skate park and he just does his thing.
I can just see this little tiny 3-year-old with a great big helmet on his head, little tiny elbow, whatever.
I gotta show you the videos. It's
Yeah,
so
I was going to
funny.
say that. Like when we get finished with the show, I want to see a video. You know what I saw? This was really, it's related to skateboarding. I went down to the convention center one time. They were having a surfing convention. There was a dog.
Skate Expo, yeah.
It was a French bulldog, and it's out there skating on the skateboard, and it's like, it's, all three, right front, back legs are on there, and it's using its front left leg to just.
That breed loves it. Like I have a bulldog as well. My friend Matt, my partner Matt, I was telling you about, he has a bulldog as well. Same thing. Like our dogs love skateboards too.
Oh my God! Yeah. That was like, I was going, I have to get a picture of this.
Yeah, it's so funny.
It is so funny. And I did not know. I've only seen that breed do it. I'm pretty sure there's other breeds that do it. But I was going, why does that breed? Because they're low to the ground? I have
no idea. Same thing. I've only seen that breed do it, like bulldogs. But it's
like they might be the perfect height, because I'm going, dachshunds can't do it. Their little legs can't even touch the ground.
They're heavy. Like they look super light. Like my dog, he's super tiny, but if you pick him up, he's solid. He's like 50 pounds.
Oh yeah, no, my brother has him. Yeah, he has those same kind of Old English bulldogs.
Okay.
They are solid. There is, and the drool. It is it's you need to put a bib around that thing. Oops, sorry. Touched my mic. Oh, there we are. We're back. Anyway, okay. So how'd you go from college, and then you were in skating, and now where are you at this point?
At this point, I am.
What is Pocket Capital?
Yeah, Pocket Capital is me bottling up all the learning lessons and pivoting into what I love to do, and it's a venture studio, and we're a vertically integrated venture studio. We operate as a holding company. Everything is internal for what we do, and we create brands. We own, operate, distribute, manufacture consumer brands. We focus on the hospitality and retail sector, and we're in the action sports, luxury goods, accessories, soon to be cosmetics, and we're just creating brands that have a purpose behind them, that have a social impact, and we're creating the business model, testing them, and just creating great companies that we can grow and scale, that we can then scale, hire, scale again. That's really it.
So where did the name come from? Pocket Capital. I mean, I have an idea, but let's hear your story.
Okay, less is more.
So it has to fit in a pocket?
That's a good way to put it. But no, it's really just understanding that you can do a lot with a little bit.
Oh my God.
And
okay. Now that's a key word for me. I sat there and I've learned, how do you do it with zero budget?
Yeah.
There you go.
That's really where the name came from. I've been working on Pocket Capital since 2017, the business model and the overall brand concept. And a really good friend of mine and mentor as well, he exposed me into the world of trading and day trading. And that's when I understood how money worked. I just got hooked on learning the ins and outs of the day trading industry, and it was just amazing to see the liquidity and the way that businesses operate, and the fact that retail traders on the everyday level could learn this skill, access the same liquidity, and design their lives. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And my friend, he runs a educational based platform where he teaches people how to trade, stuff like that. But for me, I was like,
what is your friend's name?
His name is Quillen Black.
Okay, I was wondering, because somebody reached out to me and his name is Sammy.
Sammy what?
I'll have to look it up. But he's wanting to be on my podcast, and he's this financial.
He's a trader?
It's his show is called Think Like a Banker.
I'm not
yeah.
familiar with that.
And I watched his show and I went, wow, because he explained, his guest helped explain how when you think like a banker, you're going to keep all of the money within your own power.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're going to use that to leverage to get things for yourself instead of going to banks. And I went, wow, that is brilliant. So yes, I would like to have him on my podcast, that guy.
Yeah, that's the same thought process, and leveraging trading to fund your dreams, to test your dreams and make them a reality. At the simple level, that's what it is. And we have a few companies that we're developing right now that are getting ready to go into the market in 2022. And it's Pocket Capital is we're able to be behind the scenes and control and create and operate these brands and let the brands do the shining and let the brands make the impact. And it has nothing to do with the people behind it. And that's what I love. I love the business and creative side. I love designing the business models and the marketing concepts and the frameworks for them. I love all that. But what I also love is seeing somebody fall in love with a product that makes them feel a way. Not because they're supporting their friend. They connect with the product because the way it's packaged, the way it's designed, the way it feels, smells, tastes, whatever it is you're working on, and they're able to connect with it. So that's what we do at Pocket. We take ideas, we self-fund them, we send them through our supply chain, we manufacture them, we quality control them, and we deploy them into the marketplace through e-commerce, through wholesale, and through retail.
You know what? We were here, one of my interns and I, that she's working on the Pivot Business Consulting website. And we went downstairs and we got something to eat. When we came back, one of the things that I really appreciated was the fact that they gave me a paper straw. It wasn't plastic.
Yeah, that's cool.
What I was hoping, but the rest of the containers are still all plastic, and we need to have things that are more, disposable in the sense that they're biodegradable. In India, I've seen that, it was on YouTube, and it's been around for a while, that they take plant-based materials and they created a spork, a fork and a spoon, but it was made out of something that was even edible. So it could have, whatever, we'll say it's jicama root or something like that, something really, pretty strong. So they made this, they made this little spork, and then you eat it, you eat your food, and then you eat that, and then I'm going, you know what, that is like brilliant.
Okay.
One of my favorite other companies is the Grove, and Grove is about reducing any type of environmental impact. Their goal is to go to zero plastic products within, I think it's even 2023, I think. And they're moving things over into that side of like metals or into glass or in some type of I'll say plastic, but some type of a material that's very, very lightweight and not even like, a plastic bottle. I respect those kind of products because I think that there's, this bigger picture, and I feel like that's what you're describing.
Yeah, purpose-driven.
Yeah.
We say our core
and you
values.
said social impact too.
Yeah, absolutely. We create the way that we create brands and the businesses. It's a simple framework. We focus on people, passion, product, and profit, and we create businesses with a framework that is based off of the lean business model. But we focus on 3 areas: live, work, and play. So can the businesses that we create consistently improve the way that their consumer live, works, and plays, as well as the team behind the brand or the business? Can they improve the way they live, work, and play through working in this brand or business venture day to day? So that's the structure that we look for, and we create KPIs for both. And it's, again, looking at people as people. So we design businesses around the people that operate them. So Pocket Capital is designed around the people that run it. All of our strengths and weaknesses. Like, my entire team knows that I consistently work through bipolar disorder. I have an open door policy with our head of people, and it's a beautiful relationship when your team can be vulnerable and know that their job's not in jeopardy, or their career's not in jeopardy, or their dreams aren't in jeopardy.
Or we'll even take it a step further, that their leader might not be there, or because it's not that anything's going to necessarily happen to you, but stuff happens to everybody.
But
so
the thing is, though, like there are times where I'm not there, and it's a practice that I learned from having a mental illness. Is not an illness; it's actually a superpower. I went down a rabbit hole of CEOs that have bipolar disorder as well.
Yeah.
Paul English, Mark Cuban, and Chris Birch. Those are the three amazing CEOs that run amazing companies and organizations built around their quote-unquote ailment that they see as a superpower. So I'm learning the principles and practices of people that I look up to, not because of a monetary thing or a success thing, but because when they wake up in the morning, they have the same thing that I do. And that's something that my grandma told me when she was going through cancer. She said, Jay, when I wake up in the morning, I know exactly what I have. when I go to sleep at night, I know exactly what I have. But the time in between is my choice to make what I want with it. So when I learned about my superpower, I wanted to know who I could coexist with. And not through phone call, just through research and development. So I looked at these guys and I said, how can I emulate their success? And it's knowing that they design it with an open door policy, they care about people first, and they do what they love. There was a small window of time where I was very embarrassed and I was very ashamed of what I went through in the episode and all that. And it really made me a better person and a stronger person too. And seeing these guys at the level that they're at, still making the impact for the community that helped them figure out who they are, it's amazing. So
I will tell you that people that are entrepreneurs, they suffer with depression, a lot of the mental disorders that were mentioned in that spectrum, and it's not unusual. But we fall into this space of being super highly creative. Like for myself, I sit here and I have gone through, oh my God, is this ever going to end? And sometimes I go and wake up in the morning and go, oh my God, what the F? You know, I'll be so happy to be in heaven because like I'm so over it. On the same hand, I realize I have to talk to myself. There was this women's retreat that I went on, and the woman that was the speaker, she had received this horrible news all in one day. Her husband lost his job. They had a car accident. They got a letter from the IRS. There was something wrong with the house. Something broke. I'm not sure what it was. We'll say it's the washing machine, whatever. And then somebody in the family got like really, really sick. And I went, and then find this out all in one day. And the woman just like, she broke down.
She has a nervous breakdown.
Oh my God, she's just sitting there. Well, I don't know about that side, how severe it was, but she was just crying. And she went, you know what? I have my God. And she sat there and she said, I'm going to go set the timer. She set the timer on her stove for 15 minutes. And she allowed herself to feel the emotions. And she realized, well, I need another 15 minutes. And so she used it and she got up to 45 minutes. And she said, you know what? There's other things I could do that are more positive now. Yeah. So, you know, she let that be the end of where she was processing. I really took that to heart because I sat there and went, okay, you know, I can choose to sit here and go, okay, well, poor me, and wallow in that pit of self-despair, right? Or I can go, well, what can I do? What is within my power to do? And if it's, you know, like I didn't have a car for a while, so for 2 years I was riding the bus. Well, that's what an entrepreneur has to do. And I go, you know, I'm 6 miles away. It looks like I'm walking because I didn't have bus fare. Or what is it I'm going to do because I don't have somebody to pick me up? So I would walk and I'd go, you know what? I'm going to use this as my gratitude walk. And let's spend an hour talking to God and saying, okay, this is what I'm grateful for. Yeah. The fact that I can walk, you know?
You charge the things you do with the positive intention. Yeah. And you're able to get through.
Yeah. So I feel like that's really what you're addressing is no matter where you are in this spectrum of life and what comes with it, we all have issues. And I feel like the other thing that you're saying by the leader of that company, whoever the boss is, we'll say, but the leader, by showing an interest in others and being transparent and being able to say, so this is something that I'm suffering with, it actually, maybe suffering is, you know, it's a challenge for sure.
You live with it.
Yeah. You
don't
have
suffer,
to.
You just live with it.
Yeah. So it allows other people in that company to go, well, you know what? I need to share something too.
And that's exactly what happens.
Yeah. And that keeps your people with you longer because they feel they're in a safe place. They feel that spirit of inclusion around them.
That's what you learn to appreciate the most is where you feel safe and where you can be seen and heard. You know?
Yeah.
And
favorite quote that you live by?
It's a recent one, and I heard it at the right time. And shout out to Uncle Dan because this is your quote. And he's somebody that turned into a mentor that I didn't know that I needed. And he runs an amazing barbecue business in Avalon Park as well, Barbecue 50. And he told me something one day, and he was like, "Yo, Jay, here's a secret. If you do everything with love, everything else will follow." Mm-hmm. And he said it again, and he was like, "If you do everything with love, everything else will follow." And he's like, "I taught all my kids that." He's just somebody that I have a lot of respect for because he does what he does with love. All of his kids look up to him, and he's he's doing the business thing, but he's doing the dad thing, and he's himself. And that quote hit me so deep, and I tell that to my team all the time. Like, if you guys aren't doing what you love, we're not gonna do it. That's it. Like, that's it. Because nothing's gonna come out of it if you don't love it. And yeah, I appreciate that quote more than he probably even knows. But yeah, that's it.
So the question is, the person that has, you know, truly influenced your life, is that him also?
He's definitely up there.
You can have more than one.
Yeah, he's definitely up there. That person is my grandma, and it's just because she was the rock.
Yeah.
You know, she was the rock, and she just exposed everybody to everything. She was a baker, so she ran a bakery, and where she's from, you know, it's typical practice to have a home-based setup, if you will. So you have your dwelling upstairs and your business downstairs, or vice versa, whichever it is. So that's the way that's how I grew up. I grew up in that bakery, and it was our safe haven. It was a backyard to play in. It was where we go to for every holiday and recreation. It was the meeting spot for the family. And my grandma cultivated that energy, and she did it all through something that she loved. She just made cakes. So I was able to witness somebody that did what they loved for a living and impact an entire family through that. So when she was sick, and this is the other quote that I love the most, at the time when she told me this quote, it was, "The spot is on the wall, Jay." And I was like, all right, what does that mean? And she was like, "For your diploma." Yeah. I'm her only grandson. So she was like, "Your sister already has one, but the spot is on the wall. You need to hang something up there." And I did get the diploma for her and everything, but I turned that into a mission statement to know that if I just look forward and the spot is on the wall for whatever accolade I want to hang up there, if it's a certification, if it's a diploma, if it's a car key, if it's a poster, whatever it is, keep your head up and look forward, and the spot will be there. So that's the other quote, and she's the main inspiration in my life for sure.
What I like about that is, to me, it reminds me of creating a vision board. You know. And I have a vision board, and my vision board is a 5-year plan, honestly. And it's consistent because it can go, oh, well, I can check that one off. That one's been done. This one's been done. The vision board doesn't mean that it's all going to be completed in a year, but when you were describing it and I was seeing it, go, so there's a spot for it, right? There's a spot on the wall.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, okay, that could be your family. That would be your educational achievements. It could be awards that your business has won. It's whatever you're right, whatever it is that you want it to be. And to me, then that begins to create the vision board or the dream board or whatever you want to call it. But I like that. That's really cool. Yeah. That might be how people choose to go and I guess decorate their house, maybe, you know, in accomplishments. You know, not just art that you can go buy in a store, but definitely accomplishments.
Yeah, if you look at it as the way you design your space, your environment, and you put totems that make you feel grounded or that remind you of something. So this ties back into my passion, consumer products. We're grounded by the things that we spend money on. We exchange our time for money. So we equate a level of importance to the things that we spend money on. Some do, some don't. So when someone has something that they consider timeless, you know, that's amazing. So they have the totem that makes them feel grounded. You know, I think that's more so how people design. You know, they see their trophies that they got when they were 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old from the spelling bee, and they're like, that was when I was proud of myself, or that was when Daddy picked me up, or that was when I spelled that word that no one thought I can do, or they have their karate belts up on the wall, whatever it is. You know, people want to feel proud of themselves. They want to feel confident, and you design your room, your safe haven, your home to do just that. You fill it up with love, but you also fill it up with the intention to feel safe and protected.
All right, 4 ingredients in the refrigerator. What are they, and what can you whip up? My
favorite drink, it's a concentrated drink from the UK, and my parents had it in the fridge growing up. It's called Ribena. It's a black currant. You like mix it with water and stuff like that, dilute it. It's awesome. So that for sure. And then aside from that, like, I'm a peanut butter and jelly with bananas in it type of guy.
Yeah.
Or like milk and the blue box of Honey Bunches of Oats. I could live off of that. So yeah, but not regular milk, like some coconut milk or almond milk. I don't eat dairy or anything.
Yeah. That's right. You're like vegan?
Not vegan.
Vegetarian.
Not even vegetarian, really. Just I don't eat red meat. I don't eat pork.
Pescatarian.
I eat fish. I'm doing my best to lean off of chicken, and it was just the way we were raised. My dad's a Rastafarian, and my mom just got exposed to that life when they got together. So a lot of the things got cut off of the diet. And if you don't crave something, you don't. If you've never been exposed to something, you never had something, you don't crave it. So
Yeah.
I don't really care about hamburgers and steaks and all. Like I've never
Ice
tasted
cream?
it.
What about ice cream?
I'll cheat on ice cream and pizza. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll regret it later on. But I mean,
Well, they
I love
do
ice cream
have
pizza.
soy-free, dairy-free
It's not
ice
the
cream.
same. It's not the same. Not even close. Not even close.
All right, well, we're going to take a really quick break for our sponsor to acknowledge Cat 5 Studios.
The Intern Whisperer is brought to you by Cat 5 Studios, who help you create games and videos for your training and marketing needs that are out of this world. Visit Cat 5 Studios for more information to learn how Cat 5 Studios can help your business. Thank you, Cat 5 Studios.
All right, we are back to our show, and we're going to be looking at the future of jobs and industries in 2030. What do you think it's going to be like for retail products? And because you kind of fall into a fintech side of the business, so
Yeah.
what's that going to look like? How much is going to be automated, augmented reality? I can tell you, you were down there in Orlando Game Space with me also. That's a co-working space for our listeners in Orlando, Florida. And it's all about virtual reality and augmented reality. I think a lot of your products are going to be in that space now.
Every time this question comes up, are you in fintech? What industry are you in? I say that I coexist. I'm a creative. I create products, I create businesses, I create brands, and I create solutions. When it comes to technology, I have two people that I hold very dear to my heart that educate me and dumb it down for me to understand the tech stuff. And those are the founders of 302. That's Kyle Morand and Bobby Torres. They understand all those solutions. They create augmented reality and virtual reality frameworks and solutions for themselves in-house, vertically integrated as well. But they'll also do that for clients as well. And if you get the three of us in a room, I could probably answer that question a lot better. But on the personal side, I see a lot of innovation happening in the fulfillment and distribution side, as well as the pick, pack, and ship process of the warehousing process, if you will, for order fulfillment. I also see a lot of local production going, where you can operate with a lean business model, where it's low overhead, high revenue, high production type of thing. So more craft-based home businesses where charge a little bit more because the understanding is that you're working with a lot less. So I see production coming over here. In regards to the tech, I do see fashion and retail implementing a lot of augmented reality in their storefronts. I do see a lot of that, a lot of digital billboards, a lot of innovative checkout solutions, interactive displays, like that type of thing. I do see stores going that route.
I feel like in retail, a lot more of that checkout. I mean, I experience it in grocery stores I go to, whether you're at Walmart or you're at Target. Obviously, there's a real need for being able to have those things automated.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I heard Nissan is releasing electric cars next year. There's not supposed to be any gas cars.
That's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, it is. Because that changes all kinds of construction in homes.
Yeah.
You're going to have modules where you can have your electric charging station, in your garage.
Standard soon.
Yeah, I know. And I'm thinking like apartment communities, right? You're going to have every parking spot has to have an electric charger for cars to do that. And they better do that overnight.
I completely. I think we're still on the cusp of that wave, and we're being exposed to a lot, and we see the different routes that the innovation is trying to go, but it's still very, very early. Innovation has to be rolled out in phases for the masses to be able to handle and adapt to it.
Yeah, you're talking about
really
scalable solutions. So
yeah,
there's definitely that. All right, so we talked about automations and being able to check out in grocery stores. I have heard of also robots being able to go, and instead of having people that deliver whatever, Instacart, whatever, people doing it, there would be robots going in, picking things out. It goes in a little, I saw this on a documentary on Netflix, and it drives to a person's house, not like a drone, but here's your stuff, and then, it goes away.
There's there's a startup that I forgot the name
They're
of it.
doing it
It's,
in San Francisco right
it's
now.
a pizza company that it's a few of the former employees from either SpaceX or Tesla, I believe, but they started a pizza company where it's all fully automated by robots, even down to the delivery.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would believe
cool.
that.
And they have like a head chef that's just there overseeing everything, but it's all robots.
Well, they're doing that now. And this show was the future of food that I was watching. And it was a robot that was driving that in San Francisco doing that. I can see places where you would go in to buy anything. So I imagine if I wanted to go to Krispy Kreme, there's not going to be humans there anymore making the donuts.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like that's a process they can automate fully now.
So this is the moral dilemma then, Jay. The moral dilemma.
Yeah.
We have people that are immigrants that come over here. They need jobs. They don't speak English. They end up getting the jobs that are exactly like what we're describing.
Yeah.
They need those jobs. Then we also have those individuals with disabilities that are not high functioning, neurodiverse or whatever you want to be able to say. They don't have that IQ. If we take these kind of jobs away, then what are they supposed to do?
I feel like there's two ways to look at it. One, when you're creating a business, I feel like it's effective if you're reducing the time that it takes somebody to do something. And with implementing tech to make certain things easier for us, I don't think that's going to necessarily impact us in a negative way. I feel like it's going to expose us to doing what we're actually supposed to do. So the meaningless tasks that people get paid these wages that they complain about and petition for and do all that stuff for, those might not be the opportunities. They might be exposed to something where they can actually do what they love to do.
I feel like there's this place where we as humans, if we're going to take something away that's been a way for people to get jobs, we need to be thinking about how we're going to solve the other side. Well, how can we help them find a job and do something or start a business, whatever it is that they're going to be good at, because the poor will always be with us. We know the word. And we also know that, those that have disabilities, not everybody can.
Yeah.
So we have to be able to find that balance between them. And I'm just going to throw that out because I know that you're a very empathetic person.
Okay.
And when I say I know, I mean, this is truly what I've witnessed about you.
I appreciate
and
that.
I feel like you're going to be somebody that goes, well, you know what? We need to think about those people.
Just off the cusp, I think a great way to combat a potential issue before it even happens is exposure. You have to find people to connect with that are passionate about making social impact. That's one. And once you create that energy to cultivate a positive change, then that'll definitely happen. And for these individuals, like you're saying, there are people like you, like myself, that are passionate about helping people in need, whether that's in financial need, that's in mental need, that's emotional need, whatever it is, they're destined to help people in need. So I think it's more of, if we can expose people to more of like a be, do, have mentality, I think we can start combating that issue, because there's people that are passionate about creating tech, there's people that are passionate about creating cars, there's passionate people about making clothing, and then there's people about social impact and generating that personal capital, that personal currency, that social exchange. People aren't going anywhere. So I'm not, and I guess this is me appreciating the upbringing, not really being exposed to too much tech. Like, I'm not really worried about it. I know it's going to come. I know it's going to be there. It's designed to happen, but people are not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be more on the side of the people that are trying to create social impact solutions. And that's the community I'll be around, and keep pushing the bar for exposure.
Mm-hmm. My thoughts are that we really need, as business owners, we need to keep this as an ongoing conversation, and break down silos and turning away, because I know I've been just as guilty. I see so many homeless people on the street, and I go, how can I help them? I'm just one person.
Oh, yeah.
But I think as a group of people, and if every person said, all right, I'm going to do this to try and make a difference, then maybe it's that dollar. Don't give it to the homeless person. You give it to an organization that is actually producing some impact. Like, Bombas socks. I love that they give away, you buy a pair of socks, they give a black pair of socks. That's always the ones that go to the shelter. That's a way that they differentiate themselves.
And it's things like that. And that's what I meant by social impact. It's knowing how to coexist with the things that you love. So every single business that we create, every single brand that we're working on currently right now, every single one has a social impact designed into the business model. And that I feel like that is going to be the next wave of what businesses are trying to do to connect with the consumer.
Yeah.
And on the business side, yes, it will generate capital gain for the business. Yes, it is designed to profit, but there are ethical thoughts going into how can we impact these communities, because businesses are now coexisting with these small businesses, these nonprofit organizations. They're starting to be aware of what they can do with the level of presence that they have in their marketplace.
Best mentoring advice that you want our listeners to hear?
Yeah, best mentoring advice ever. This came from one of my mentors when I was working at Adidas. His name is Herman, and he took like a big brother like role with me for sure. And he told me, he's like, Jay, no matter what, have plan A through Z. And he's like, that way if plan A fails, you can go to plan B. And he's like, you're not expecting a failure. You're just expecting to know that life is about failing forward.
Yes, I agree. I love that. So I say that same thing. Not as beautifully as what you just said, but there's 26 letters in the alphabet. Yeah, there's always a plan.
Yeah, and he would say like, each letter is a chapter of your book, and life is meant to be spent from A to Z. So don't obsess about being perfect right now. He's like, you're young, you're allowed to be dumb and mess up and do this and do that. That's what this age group is for. That's what this letter is for. Then this phase is for. And he broke it down so eloquently, and it stuck with me. It's like, all right, this is the life lesson that I'm learning in these 5 years. For me, closing out the decade last year, that was understanding that I have a diagnosis and I could work with that framework and develop myself to be a better person. And that's what I left with. I was like, wow, I understand myself, or I got the tools to understand myself. So
you understand yourself at that moment in time.
Yeah.
Because you're going to continue to evolve.
Absolutely, growth mindset, always.
How can people contact you?
You can go to our website, www.pocket-capital.com, and every other contact spot will be there: Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, whichever channels are on there that the marketing guys work on. For me, you can shoot me an email, because if anybody's hearing this that's on the mental health side, shoot me an email. I'll open that one for sure. And I will try my best to just be active with it, and that's something that we're.
Do you want to share that email address?
Yeah, it's Jay@pocket-capital.com. Feel free to send it.
So is it J-A-Y or the letter J?
Yeah, J-A-Y.
Okay.
Jay@pocket-capital.com.
Okay. Well, thanks so much. We're gonna just say thank you, Cat 5 Studios, for helping our production, getting our production team going. We want to thank our video interns, Chase McDowell, David Ullman, and Keisha Perez. Music by Sophie Lloyd, Charles Fleming, Elijah Sutton, Dave Francis, and Diego Leal. Sound effects by Eric Peterson, Matt Miller, Miguel Centra, and Dave Francis. Visit Employers for Change at www.e4c.tech to learn how you can create real diversity and inclusive culture while skilling your people for the future of work. Thank you so much, Jay. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. It was awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.